From Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents NCAA Division II women's soccer coverage live on the ECC network. Today's matchup features the Mavericks of Mercy College taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Good morning, everybody. This is Joe Foreman, and I will be bringing you all the action solo today from the press box atop Dolphin Soccer Park. And for the College of Staten Island, they come in with a record of 1-7-1, 1-3 against the ECC, looking to pick up their second win of the season in conference play and trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. As for this Mavericks team, they come in with a 10-2 overall record. They are a perfect 5-0 against the East Coast Conference. And for this Mavericks team, they will look to stay unbeaten in conference play against the Dolphins team that they have faced just once. That match was played last season, and it was a 3-0 victory for the Mavericks. So Mercy will look to stay unbeaten against the ECC and unbeaten against the College of Staten Island. As for the Dolphins, it has been a struggle trying to score goals this year. They have been shut out quite a few times, but there are reasons for optimism across their last several games. Before their last game played on Saturday at Roberts Wesleyan University, the Dolphins had scored 3 goals across 3 games. They scored 1 goal in a defeat against St. Thomas Aquinas back on September 24th. They were shut out at Goldie Beacom on September 28th, and then they picked up their first win of the season against the Uville University by a final score of 2-0. In that game, Adriana Melgar opened the scoring for the College of Staten Island with her first goal of the season. It was assisted by Colleen Rodriguez. And then about midway through the second half, Macy Jones-Bush intercepted a Saints pass. She then beat the keeper for the goal immediately following that turnover, and the Dolphins took a 2-goal advantage. From there, they would never look back as the College of Staten Island went on to win that game against Uville by a final score of 2-0. That was the last time the Dolphins played here on their home turf back on October 1st. CSI's last game was played 1 week ago on Saturday, October 8th at Roberts Wesleyan. It was a 2-0 defeat for the College of Staten Island in that game. As for the Mavericks, they were also last in action earlier this week, and that game was played on Monday against Bentley University. The Mavericks lost a tough one by a final score of 2-1, and that was despite a distinct advantage for the Mavericks in the shot department. They also led in corner kicks throughout the match. However, they could not bounce back from a 2-goal deficit in the first half in a game that would go down as just their second defeat on this 2022 season. The Dolphins are led in goals by a trio of players: Christina Lambraya, Macy Jones-Bush, and Adriana Melgar. Colleen Rodriguez and Barbara Serrano have the only 2 CSI assists. And ahead of kickoff, we will take a look at some more stats for both of these teams. But today is Mental Health Awareness Day here at Dolphin Soccer Park. We have a pregame ceremony about to get underway. I will step aside and take a quick break. When we come back, Dolphins and Mavericks here on the ECC Network. And we're back here on the ECC Network. Once again, this is Joe Foreman joining you from Dolphin Soccer Park. I do apologize for the 5 minutes of silence to open up the game, but once again, I was summoned next door to deal with a technical issue. The equipment is not cooperating over at the stats desk, so I had to head in there and get that sorted out. But we are all good to go here from the College of Staten Island. No score through the first 5 minutes plus, nearly 6 minutes now in this East Coast Conference matchup between the College of Staten Island and Mercy College. As I mentioned during the pregame, Mavericks come in unbeaten against the ECC, 5-0, 10-2 overall on the season. The Dolphins come in at 1-7-1. They are 1-3 against the East Coast Conference. Starters for the College of Staten Island. In goal is number 1, Sarah Villacrest. The rest of the Dolphins starters in numerical order. Number 2, Jacqueline D'Amico. Number 4, Emily Albano. Number 5, Macy Jones-Bush. Number 11, Christina Lambraya. Number 13, Isabella Castro. Number 17, Angie Galan. Number 20, Ariel Yu. Number 23, Ariel Solomon. Number 24, Adriana Melgar. And number 27, Megan Marr. Get you the starters for the Mavericks in just a couple of moments once we have another stoppage in play. Do apologize for rushing back onto the air, but I should be with you the rest of the way throughout today's East Coast Conference doubleheader. The women up first, followed by the men on this Mental Health Awareness Day at the College of Staten Island. CSI Soccer partnering with Morgan's Message, and I initially had to cut the pregame a bit short as I stepped into the room next door to serve as the master of ceremonies for our pregame speech, as that one is sent on goal, and Sarah Villacrest has her first save. Starters for the Mavericks: number 1, Kami Anaya. Number 3, Madison Rosa. Number 4, Stacy Avedano. Number 6, Jessica Hoyt. Number 9, Nikki Bermudez. Number 10, Marlene Avalos. Number 11, Sydney Cooper. Number 14, Tara Anderson. Number 15, Skylar Schwenkler. Number 16, Jennifer Silva. And number 17, Angsu Dixon. That's a good ball, and we have an offsides flag, so an early chance goes by the wayside for the Mavericks, though it's not all that early, as we are now just over 8 minutes into this first half. Dolphins awarded a free kick following the offsides. Did promise some stats for the Mavericks before I stepped aside to head into the room next door during our pregame show. Get you some of those in just a moment. Ball now in the midfield with Mercy College. As I was consulting my stat sheet and my roster, it looks like their leading goal scorer, or at least player listed as their leading goal scorer over on their website, Kayla Camacho, not in the lineup and not active. Well, she is active, just not in the lineup. She wears number 7. She leads the Mavericks in goals with 8. Angsu Dixon and Nikki Bermudez both in the lineup today, not far behind Camacho. They have 6 goals each. Dixon also the team leader in assists with 6. Kami Anaya has started all 12 games for the Mavericks in goal as well. She has allowed .62 goals per game and saved nearly 84% of the shots she has faced. So a very impressive start to her season. As the Mavericks once again look to work it into the midfield, that pass was intercepted by the Dolphins. This is Melgar. Melgar had it knocked away. It's taken by Anderson. She plays it toward the near side for Bermudez. Bermudez with a nice ball up the pitch. That leads Dixon into the attacking third. Dixon with a nice move to avoid you. Pass toward the center of the box, and barely getting a piece of that for both a Maverick and a Dolphin. Galan was in the area for CSI. Closest Maverick was Marlene Avalos. Nice series of passes there. to move that ball up the pitch quickly, but I'm not sure if they officially were credited a shot for that, but we can consult the live stats for that information. Of course, we have live stats for every Dolphins home game. Officially no shot credited there. Ball now in the midfield with the Mavericks. Schwenkler toward the near side. That was Silva, excuse me. 15 and 16 look quite similar from up here. Avedano plays it across the center line. Cooper. That was Schwenkler playing it far side. Mavericks dribbling in front of their own bench. There's a quick give and go. Here comes Rosa looking to cross. That was blocked by Castro. And we may have had a handball there against the Dolphins. So looks like we're going to have a free kick for Mercy in a dangerous spot. It was taken quickly. Schwenkler sends it into the box. Dixon is there waiting. Dixon shoots, and Dixon scores. And the Mavericks are on the board early with the game's first goal off of a free kick, a couple of passes, and I think we may have had an offsides. The goal is still not up on the scoreboard, but the Mavericks are heading back to midfield, so we'll see. And the goal is officially up on the scoreboard. I thought we had a score, but that goal was not credited to the Mavericks right away. It is 1-0 Mercy, and we will get a second look at the game's first goal right here. Dixon was in the right place. And here's another look at it. Off of a deflection, that ball landed right on the foot of Dixon. Pair of assists on the goal go to Rosa and Schwenkler. As once again the ball is in the penalty area with the Mavericks. That's sent toward the middle of the box, and the Dolphins facing the wrong way there, but they do clear it along the near side. Ball in the center of the pitch with Avalos. Now Schwenkler, far side for Rosa. Rosa moving forward with a little bit of speed. She's cut off by D'Amico. Now Cooper. Cooper for Silva. Silva toward the far side. Meeting it was Hoyt, and it was intercepted by D'Amico. D'Amico was jockeying for position, but couldn't get it. Ball along the far side with Mercy. Once again, D'Amico comes away with it. This is Galan. That pass intercepted. Bad turnover there. Dixon is onside. She looks to turn. And a good play there by Albano to spill it over the back line. Corner kick for the Mavericks. Just over 31 minutes to go in this first half, as that is sent toward goal and just over the head of Schwenkler. As we wait this Dolphins goal kick, here's one more look at the goal. That ball was clearly redirected in front by number 9, Nicky Bermudez, so they'll probably have to rescore that one. Good redirection there by Bermudez on the goal, and Dixon was all alone, unmarked, as she lined up with the far post. Credit to the Mavericks for taking that free kick quickly and setting up that scoring chance before the Dolphins could really get set defensively. They didn't have much time. to gather themselves and get into position. Throw in taken along the near side. Melgar has Lambraya. Lambraya toward the center of the pitch. And that one rolls across the midfield stripe and onto the foot of Silva. Silva for Cooper. Cooper, far side, Rosa. Mavericks taking their time here. We'll take a look back to the meeting between these two teams last year as well once we have a break in the action. As Bermudez is chasing that ball down toward the end line, she keeps it in. She plays one into the box for Dixon. Dixon had it knocked away or perhaps tried to send it away. Either way, the Dolphins do come away with possession. Galan from Castro. Galan avoids one challenge, another, and now Marr plays it ahead for Yu, and she runs out of room along the near side. Credit to our ball runner on the near side, Stephen Bonfield. He is operating solo along the near side as that crossing attempt is knocked down by Galan, and she clears it away. An assist to Marquise Pickering, our athletic communications content creator as well along the near side as he gets the ball back in quickly. Marquise patrolling the sideline is responsible for the new footage in our Sportsnet introduction package. For those who are tuned in right now, the feed is going to cut at halftime. So for just a couple of minutes during the half, you will lose our feed. But when we come back, everything should be operating normally, as we did not have the ability to insert our videos into our open, and we want to make sure we get the opportunity to do that. So at halftime, our feed will be cut for just a brief time, and we'll rejoin you for the start of the second half as that corner sails over the head of everyone and toward the far side as we have a nasty collision and a foul against the Dolphins. That occurred just outside of the box. That could have been trouble. Mavericks once again trying to send it into the penalty area. The Dolphins do knock it down before giving it away. Solomon moving toward the near side. She really has nowhere to go with it, and you will clear. That ball sent up into the air and well over the Dolphins' goal. Netting kept that one in. Goal kick for the Dolphins here. 26:50 remaining in the first half. Billcrest pulls that one in, and she will send it away out toward the midfield stripe. That's headed in the air by Schwenkler onto the foot of Jones-Bush and taken again by the Mavericks. Dixon immediately swarmed, and the Dolphins weren't going to let her turn that time. Tripping over the ball was Bermudez, but Anderson's able to keep it with the Mavericks. Mercy looking to move into the attacking third once again. And we have a Dolphin a bit shaken up. I think that was Albano who went down for a brief moment along the far side. Free kick upcoming here. As Anderson will send it to the near side for Bermudez. That one gets by. That was Rosa in the area. Anderson for Bermudez. Bermudez has a step. She is on sides, perhaps looking to cross. Yu defending well. This is Avalos, and that is sent well wide. Once again, Marquise will track it down as we have our first two substitutions of the match. Kayla Camacho will check in, replacing Marlene Avalos. Second substitution appears to be either number 18 or number 19. That is number 18, Isabella Messina, who will check in for the Mavericks. So Messina and Camacho in. Avalos was one of the players out. Try and confirm the second with the live stats, and it is Jessica Hoyt who joins Avalos on the bench. Throw in for the Mavericks. Lambraya applying some pressure to Bermudez. It's going to be a throw in here for the Dolphins. They haven't spent much time at this end of the pitch. See what the Dolphins can do here. That ball chipped in the air, bounced off a couple of bodies, and Lambraya couldn't get it to D'Amico. Galan does track it down, finds Castro. Castro being pressured by Messina, and she gives it away to Camacho. Camacho gets it to Schwenkler in the midfield. Now Bermudez, long ball toward Dixon, and Villacrest meets Dixon. That's over the arm of Villacrest, wide of the far post, and directed in by Camacho. That is goal number 9 for Kayla Camacho, who wastes no time getting onto the scoreboard. Just minutes after entering the game, it may have been under 2 minutes since Camacho had checked in, and she has given Mercy College a 2-0 lead.
Mavericks goal scored by number 7, Kayla Camacho, assisted by number 17, Ansu Dixon.
We will get a second look at that goal in just a moment, as we'll catch the very tail end of it. You'll see the ball travel over Villacrest and just wide of the far post. That is where Camacho met it, and she was able to put it in. Here's a look at the tail end of that last replay. The ball trickles just wide of that far post. Camacho all over it. And the Mavericks now have a 2-goal advantage. 3 substitutions waiting at the scorer's table to check in for the College of Staten Island. As I mentioned before, the Mavericks, perfect 5-0 against conference opponents. They have allowed just 1 goal in conference play all season. That goal was allowed to Malloy University. About 21 and a half minutes to go in this first half.
Now into the game for the Dolphins, number 7, Barbara Serrano.
Dolphins still in search of their first shot. Barbara Serrano, Nadia Evola, and Danny Duca into the game for the College of Staten Island. Possession once again with the Mavericks along the near side, and the Mavericks haven't surrendered much in terms of time of possession. As for those Dolphin substitutions, one of them, Nadia Evola, made her season debut this past weekend against Roberts Wesleyan. There's a good ball into the box. Maverick was unmarked. That was Messina, but a good recovery by CSI as Dixon puts that shot in following the whistle. No goal. Didn't see if the official got Mercy for an offsides there or for a foul, but I do have a monitor obstructing that end of the pitch. It's a very unique setup we have here in the press box at Dolphins Soccer Park. I'm seated about a foot or two behind the windows, which have very wide window panes. Makes it tough sometimes to see the entirety of the pitch. Our replay monitor was obstructing my view of the official, but either way, the Dolphins have a free kick right here as Albano sends it across midfield, and that one contacted the head of a Maverick, and I believe that was Messina who took that ball straight to the head. Make that Silva. Silva wears 16, Messina wears 18. And it looks like they may send Silva off to be evaluated for potential head injury. And with how much head injuries have been in the news lately, certainly the right move, an abundance of caution. And Silva will head over to the sideline for now. As for Nadia Evola of the Dolphins, she made her season debut 1 week ago against Roberts Wesleyan University. Perhaps her biggest moment as a Dolphin coming last season when she scored the game winner in CSI's home opener. At the time, she didn't get credit for the goal, but upon review, Nadia was indeed the goal scorer. She's also the author of CSI's warm-up playlist. And along with Jenna Como, who is not playing today, that pair helped organize and were instrumental in organizing today's Mental Health Awareness Day at Dolphins Soccer Park. Jenna is a student ambassador with Morgan's Message and was the focus of our pregame ceremony, highlighting the need for attention to the mental health alongside the physical health of our collegiate student athletes. We had several giveaways at Dolphins Soccer Park here today, and the Dolphins wore special warm-up T-shirts in recognition of today's event. If you were one of the lucky few fans who arrived very early, you may have gotten your hands on one of those T-shirts, but everyone got some magnets, some lanyards, keychains, and of course we had the information regarding how to find Morgan's Message on the web, posted at the entrance to Dolphins Soccer Park, and we'll share that information over at csidolphins.com as well in case you couldn't be here for today's game. We'll talk a bit more about that in the second half as the Dolphins hope to give these fans and their supporters something else to cheer about during today's game. Dolphins trail by 2 goals early, and the way they've struggled to find the back of the net this year, they can't afford to allow another. Mavericks have really kept the pressure on since the start of this game, though admittedly I wasn't all too engaged in the first 5 minutes as I was trying to sort out our tech issues next door. Dolphins nearly give it away there. Nice job by Marr for a moment, and now another chance brewing for the Mavericks. Dixon back to Bermudez. Bermudez keeps possession as she powers through a pair of challenges. Anderson back to Bermudez. Bermudez looking for Dixon. That gets through, and Albano is able to clear. Anderson throws. And Yu was looking to take it down toward back line and keep it in. She did, but possession winds up with the Mavericks once again. Silva was allowed back into the game after they quickly evaluated her along the Mercy bench. There's a giveaway by the Mavericks. Haven't said that too often today. This is Duca. Duca avoids one challenge, finds D'Amico. D'Amico was looking for Duca, who sprinted right past the ball. And now the Mavericks regain possession in the midfield. Possession remains with Mercy in the midfield as they look to move forward into the attacking third. This is Bermudez, and she will send it back to Avendano. Silva. Good ball up the far side as that's rolling down toward the corner. It's redirected by Messina and crossed in. As we have a foul, looks like a push was called. I would presume against Kayla Camacho. I believe the lines judge made the call. Free kick for the Dolphins. 15:40 on the clock in this first half. 2-0 lead for the visitors here at Dolphin Soccer Park. A lot to play for both teams here in today's game. Of course, the Mavericks would love to stay perfect in the conference as we have a violent collision there. And that might be Silva down again as the clock is stopped at 15:19. Both players looking to play the ball, and that is Silva who went down again. But as I was saying, both teams with a lot to play for here this afternoon. Of course, the Dolphins would love to pick up a win in front of a nice crowd here on Mental Health Awareness Day. But for the Dolphins, if they don't win this game, in all likelihood, that would end their hopes of an East Coast Conference playoff berth. I do have the standings in front of me right now, and the Dolphins are still certainly very much in the mix. Right now, the Dolphins are 6th in the conference. They have sole possession of 6th place. And, more importantly perhaps, they trail in the standings both Damon and Queens. Damon comes into today at 2-3. Queens comes in at 2-4. The Dolphins have games remaining against both of those teams. So the Dolphins very much control their own destiny. And taking a look at the standings right now, Dolphins certainly don't have to have this game. They would love to have it, but they don't have to have it. So we'll see how this season unfolds down the stretch. But if the Dolphins could somehow pull out a tie in this game at the very least, that would go a long way. That 1 point could be the difference between playoffs and no playoffs. Dolphins also still have Lincoln University on the schedule. The Dolphins defeated Lincoln last year. As we have a flag up for offsides against the Mavericks, the Dolphins defeated Lincoln last year. So if the Dolphins can replicate that effort this year and pick up the win, that would be 2 wins in conference play. Dolphins might only need 3 to get into the playoffs. Of course, that depends on how the other teams perform down the stretch. But the Dolphins have a win over Deauville, so they would own that tiebreaker. They do not have a win over St. Thomas Aquinas College. They would not own that tiebreaker. So in all likelihood, if the Dolphins can take a win against Queens, that puts them in a great spot. If they win the games against Queens and Lincoln, Dolphins certainly have a chance. But that's also contingent on how many teams qualify for the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, in the past, it has been 6. Each and every year that I've covered CSI Dolphins athletics for the College of Staten Island, the question down the stretch of the season has always been, how many teams are going to qualify for the playoffs? Back in the CUNY days, that would change as that shot is over the crossbar. Bermudez had a great chance there. After, I believe it was Galan who went down, she got tripped up near the top of the box, and that left a wide open shooting lane for Nikki Bermudez. And it looks like Bermudez is going to head off along with Angsu Dixon.
Now into the game for the Mavericks, number 8, Dominique Bono, and number 23, Elizabeth Bowles.
Dominique Bono into the game, along with number 23, Elizabeth Bowles, for Mercy College, just inside of 13 minutes to play in this first half. Taking a look here at the East Coast Conference playoff schedule for this year, we have 2 days of playoffs, November 2nd and November 5th. for women's soccer. So based upon this, I would presume that it's going to be a 4-team playoff if you have a semifinals and a final. So that would mean only 4 teams get in. It may be basketball only with 6. So assuming it is 4 teams that get in, the Dolphins have a lot of work to do. Certainly not out of it, but will likely have to win at the very least 2 more conference games. After today, the Dolphins have 3 conference games remaining. D'Amico giving chase as that ball finds its way into the attacking third. It's cleared by the Mavericks. Solomon meets it in the midfield. It was knocked away, but Solomon stays with it. Galan finds you along the near side. You moving in toward the center of the pitch, sends one up toward Evola, and it's chipped away once again by the Mavericks. Schwenkler gets it to the near side for Bono. That may have contacted a Dolphin as Megan Marr tracks it down. In terms of conference games, the Dolphins have Lincoln on Saturday, October 22nd, 1 week from today on the road. They then take on Damon here at home. Right now, that is tentatively scheduled as Senior Day for the Dolphins. That could change. The rumor right now, and I only say rumor because it hasn't been confirmed, but the hope right now is that the men's and the women's games on Wednesday, October 26th, may be flipped in the schedule, where the men play at 11 and the women play at 2, thus allowing the women to have their Senior Day a bit later in the day. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but if you hope to be here for Senior Day, mark down October 26th on your calendars right now. That is tentatively scheduled as our Senior Day for the College of Staten Island women's soccer team. Men's soccer, if I'm not mistaken, does not have any seniors. So there'll be no Senior Day presentation for men's soccer this year. And that highlights a point that was being made in the last men's soccer broadcast earlier in the week, as Alliance University had a great stream earlier in the week on Wednesday. That ball's crossed in front. Another chance here for Camacho, but the Dolphins do a nice job to get there. Camacho turns. Her shot may have been partially blocked. She was also tripped up and wanted a foul. Did not get the call, but great job by Alliance University with the stream on Wednesday. And during that game, they made a great point about how the Dolphins are a very young team on the men's soccer side. And you see that illustrated perhaps no better than by the fact that they don't have any seniors. That's big for them, as they are right in the thick of the playoff race as well. We'll talk more about their positioning in the East Coast Conference standings during our next game. But for the women, they will likely need to win at least 2 more times to have any chance at a playoff spot. And in all likelihood, one of those wins will have to come. In fact, it will be a certainty that one of those wins has to come against Queens or Damon if they're going to win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way. Of course, it's still too early to write this game off, but if the Dolphins do not at least take away a point from this game, they will undoubtedly have to win at least 2 more. For those of you who haven't checked our schedule over at csidolphins.com in a while, the game that was originally scheduled to be played here at Dolphin Soccer Park on October 29th is now a road game. So that game, once again, on the 29th is now a road game. That game will be played at Queens. So the Dolphins will travel to face the Knights at the end of the month. That is no longer a home game. We had a cancellation as well earlier in the week. We were scheduled for a match here at Dolphin Soccer Park on Thursday against Bloomfield College. That game has been rescheduled for November 2nd. Now, it is possible Senior Day could be held on that day as well. However, it remains to be seen if the team will elect to do that or if they'll instead have Senior Day sooner, as Camacho had another chance, but the flag was up. She's offsides. Now, all information regarding Senior Day and any additional events taking place throughout the remainder of the season, such as this Mental Health Awareness Day, all of those will be visible on our schedule over at csidolphins.com. So you can check that out to stay up to date with the latest information regarding scheduling changes and when Senior Day will be. This Mental Health Awareness Day was originally scheduled for a couple of weekends back against D'Youville. However, that was moved due to inclement weather, and weather sure was poor on that day. We had a torrential downpour early in the women's game. Had to operate our camera by hand from inside of the press box. Fortunately, the weather allowed us to move outside in the second half. As the Dolphins do clear that over the near side. It's going to be a throw-in for the Mavericks, but once again, stay up to date with the latest in terms of scheduling over at csidolphins.com. Taking a look at the Dolphins' remaining opponents in the conference, I mentioned Damon, one of those, Queens the second, and Lincoln the third. Damon right now 2-3 in conference play. Their wins coming over St. Thomas Aquinas College and D'Youville. They have Roberts Wesleyan, CSI, and Lincoln remaining on their schedule. Dolphins would likely have to beat them to get in, and they would need Damon to lose at least one more game. As for Queens, I believe the situation is very much the same. They would need Queens to lose at least one more, and the Dolphins would have to beat them as well. So, haven't crunched the numbers as I've done in the past, but taking a quick look at the conference standings, for the Dolphins to qualify for a 4-team playoff, they will likely have to win out should they not come away with any points here in today's game. Still plenty of time for CSI, but in terms of playoffs, they will likely have to win out should they not register any points today. As it's going to be a corner kick for the Dolphins. That attempt by Solomon was tipped, so perhaps a chance here for the Dolphins to get on the board late in this first half. They haven't had a single set-piece opportunity in this game. First Mavericks goal coming off of a free kick. Albano will take the corner kick. Dolphins lined up primarily wide of the far post along the top of the box. Corner on its way toward the dot. Down goes D'Amico. And Albano sends one into the box once again. That is over the head of one Dolphin. That was Ballesteros, nearest CSI attacker. As Marr sends one into the box. And it's headed skyward and into the arms of Anaya in goal. Not mistaken, that is her first touch of this match. Once again, I missed much of the first 5 minutes trying to sort out some issues next door, but she certainly hasn't touched the ball since I've moved back into the commentary booth. Yu finds Evola with a nice pass. Evola battling with Schwenkler for position, and Schwenkler takes it away. Advantage Mavericks, or at least I thought so. Looked like the official had his arm up inside of the midfield circle as Barbara Serrano goes down. Free kick Dolphins. Head official will move the Mavericks back a bit, and Serrano will give way to Emily Albano. 2:45 to go in this first half. Dolphins trail by a pair of goals. Albano sends one into the box. A good free kick, but we'll see who last touched it, and it was the Mavericks. So the Dolphins are awarded their second corner kick in the last minute or so. And once again, a chance here for CSI. as Albano will set it up along the far side in the corner. The last corner kick attempt wound up just wide of the dot, far side of that penalty dot. We'll see where Albano looks to send this one. Basically the same exact spot as D'Amico goes down for the second time. And we'll see if she's able to get to her feet. She is. She got caught right in the middle of a bunch of bodies there. Several players vying to get to that ball first. See if the Mavericks are content here to try and bleed off these final 90 seconds in this first half. It's been a great start to this game for them. Seems like they may have eased off just a bit after going ahead by 2. But there's been no missing the presence of Kayla Camacho since she has checked in. Has a goal, nearly scored a second. And once again, she's off sides. Now, we've seen that quite a few times as well. Camacho just getting a bit too far ahead of that Dolphins back line. She's been whistled for a couple of offsides. However, her presence and the impact it has had on this Mavericks attack, it's been undeniable so far in this first half. Her goal is her team-leading 9th. Solomon gets tied up with Schwenkler, and it was taken away. Solomon now trying to get position on Silva. She could not. Ball now with Anaya, and with only 10 seconds on the clock in this first half, that will bring half number 1 to a close. The Dolphins trail the Mavericks by a score of 2-0. In case you missed it earlier, our feed will cut for just a couple of minutes. And when we come back, we will have coverage of the second half between the Dolphins and the Mavericks. Once again, our stream is going to be cut for just a few minutes. We have to make some changes on the back end of our broadcast. When we come back, more NCAA Division II women's soccer on the ECC Network. We are back from Dolphins Soccer Park, and you got a look at our brand new introduction video package for the first time this season, ahead of the start of the second half. Footage courtesy of Marquise Pickering, our athletic communications content creator. And moving forward, that introduction will be updated with more and more new footage throughout this men's and women's soccer season and the rest of the athletic calendar here at the College of Staten Island. As promised, we are back. I had to cut the feed for just a couple of minutes during our halftime break in order to import those video packages and make some other graphical changes on the back end. But we are back for the second half of this NCAA Division II women's soccer matchup between the Dolphins and the Mavericks. Mercy College leads the College of Staten Island by a score of 2-0, and we have about 5.5 minutes to go before the start of the second half. So I just wanted everyone who is watching at home to know that I am back. Our feed is back up. We are live, and we'll stay with you the rest of the way in this one. Dolphins and Mavericks. This is Joe Foreman once again, and I will be rejoining you in about 5 minutes here on the ECC Network with the remainder of this Dolphins-Mavericks conference matchup. And we are back from Dolphins Soccer Park. Once again, this is Joe Foreman rejoining you here on the ECC Network with the second half of this NCAA Division II women's soccer matchup between the College of Staten Island and Mercy College. Mavericks have a 2-0 lead as we start the second half. Dolphins will possess it first, attacking left to right. And for the College of Staten Island, these next 45 minutes of soccer are 45 big minutes. As I mentioned, the Dolphins still have an outside chance to qualify for the East Coast Conference postseason. Conference has really been a team, or I should say, a conference that has been dominated by two teams so far this year. As the Dolphins look to move toward the far side, Melgar was cut off, and she gets it to the center of the pitch for Galan. But we talked a bit about the East Coast Conference and the women's soccer standings during the first half, and I should say it is three teams that have really been dominant atop the conference. Three teams with 5 wins. Roberts Wesleyan and Mercy, they are unbeaten at 5-0. Malloy, 5-1. Mercy and Roberts Wesleyan yet to meet. That should be an exciting matchup down the stretch, especially for fans of the Mavericks and the Redhawks. After today, the Dolphins will have faced both of those teams. They fell to the Redhawks last weekend 2-0. They trail in this match 2-0 as Albano does a nice job there against Camacho. She was able to cut that ball off and prevent Camacho from making yet another bid for her second goal of the match. Camacho has been right in the middle of several scoring chances for the Mavericks already, and she didn't even get the start. As Emma Best chases this one down into the corner, she gets there in time. Plays one toward the edge of the box. Bermudez challenged by Galan, and Galan was able to keep Bermudez from moving any further. Nice job by Solomon as well to keep that in play, as that shot is just wide from Best. Not a bad attempt at all for Emma Best. If I'm not mistaken, this is her first action of the match. Dolphins once again have it far side, this time in front of their own bench. Melgar up ahead toward Lambraya. Ball winds up on the foot of the Mavericks goalkeeper, Anaya. Collision in the midfield and a foul against Megan Marr of the Dolphins. Free kick once again taken quickly. Perhaps a chance to cross here for the Mavericks, but good job defensively by Emily Albano to prevent that. And it's going to be a CSI goal kick. Now, I mentioned during the first half that today is Mental Health Awareness Day at Dolphins Soccer Park. We had some nice giveaways, a pregame ceremony. And the festivities continue through the men's game as well. So if you couldn't make it for our women's game, be sure to join us for the men's game. But while we have some time here in the second half, and when we have another break in the action, I wanted to share some of our pregame speech and the words of Jenna Como, who shared her own story and her struggles with mental health ahead of kickoff of today's match, and wanted to share some of her words from an address that she authored to the fans and student athletes in attendance. So when we have a break, we'll share some of that. We may have time right here as that rolls over the end line. And it's going to be a Dolphins goal kick. So for those of you who didn't know, Jenna Como of CSI Dolphins Women's Soccer is a student ambassador for Morgan's Message. And Morgan's Message aims to expand the dialogue on mental health and normalize conversations about the issue. They look to empower those who have been suffering with mental health issues in silence and offer support to those who feel alone in their struggle with their mental health. And as I mentioned before, in an effort to increase awareness of the mental health issues faced by student athletes, Jenna shared some of her own personal story. And I'll elaborate more on that once we have another stoppage in play. Don't want to miss any of the action as Bermudez looked as if she might have a chance there, but that ball was a bit too strong. So in the words of CSI Dolphin Jenna Como, she said, as part of her address to the spectators pregame, that we all play our sport for our love of the game and the community it brings us, but at the end of the day, we are all just people, the same as non-athletes, and with the same vulnerability to struggle. Speaking of her own struggles with her mental health, she said that my struggles with mental health have not defined me, but have shaped me. And to any athlete that is struggling, go find that thing that scares you the most and do it anyway. Once you confront your biggest fear, fear has no power. Speaking of power, those some powerful words from Jenna Como, and that was her address to the student athletes and spectators in attendance here at Dolphin Soccer Park, as that ball is a bit too long for Jones Bush. But today's match is dedicated to raising awareness for the mental health of collegiate athletes. And during warm-ups, the Dolphins wore T-shirts featuring a butterfly design as that is sent toward goal. Villacrest cannot get there, and that is into the back of the net. Jennifer Silva, who has been on the receiving end of a couple of hard hits in this game, she was evaluated for a head injury during the first half, and Silva has found the back of the net from a long way out to give the Mavericks a 3-0 advantage. Here is a second look at that strike by Silva, and it was an impressive goal for Silva of the Mavericks. Here it is once again.
Number 16, Jennifer Silva.
This is Camacho in front, and the Mavericks have scored again. Kayla Camacho finds Dominique Bono for the goal. At least I believe it was Bono. I'll have to double check that. But Mercy goes back-to-back across just a few seconds, and the Mavericks now lead it 4-0. And once again, we will get a second look at that goal. And we might have just missed it. Fortunately, we did not. You'll get a look at the tail end of the pass. But we did catch the shot.
Mavericks scored by number 8, Dominique Bono.
Here it is a second time.
Number 7, Kayla Camacho.
Camacho with the assist. Bono with the goal. And the Mavericks have broken this game wide open. It's now 4-0. Dolphins were within striking distance to open up this half. That has changed quickly as they now trail by 4 goals. I said it before, a loss in today's game would make things very difficult on the Dolphins in terms of qualifying for the playoffs, but they would still have an outside chance. They would have to run the table the rest of the way. And if they do that, they would likely be in. I don't think it's a sure thing, but they would likely be in, as they would be one of 3 teams with a 1-4 record. They own the tiebreaker over Dieuville. They did not earn the tiebreaker over St. Thomas Aquinas College. Spartans have Lincoln, Queens, and Dieuville left on their schedule. So if the Spartans won out, they would also have a chance to qualify for the postseason as the 4th seed. Still about 2 or 3 weeks of soccer to be played. For the Dolphins, about 2.5 weeks to be exact. As Bermudez moves up the far side and runs out of real estate. Wholesale substitutions for the Dolphins once again. Or at least we expect there to be soon. 3 Dolphins engaged with Brendan Guzman just to the left of the scorer's table. It appears to be Serrano, Evola, and Duca having a word with their head coach. Dolphins possess it in the midfield. And it's taken away by Bermudez. She has Camacho. Good defensive play by Albano on the tackle. Now Villacres. Back to Albano. Albano looking for Jones-Bush, and Messina is there. Albano disrupted things again, and she's able to clear it away, but right onto the foot of Bermudez, who shoots, and the save is made by Villacres. Well, speaking of Dolphins goalkeeper Sarah Villacres, she did receive East Coast Conference Weekly Honor Roll recognition earlier in the season. Want to make sure I have the precise week correct, and she was bestowed that honor on October 4th. I believe the award winners were officially announced on the 3rd. And her performance back on October 1st against Deauville, a big part of the reason why she was the recipient of Weekly Honor Roll recognition. It's a busy day for CSI Dolphins athletics on this Saturday. Of course, women's soccer in action right now. They'll be followed by the men. Then after the men's game, or I should say in addition to the men's game, CSI Cross Country is also participating in the SJNY Invitational hosted by St. Joseph's College of Long Island. That ball crossed in by Bermudez. Galan mishandled it for a moment, but she is able to clear over the near side. Wholesale substitutions waiting to check in. 3 Dolphins and 3 Mavericks. I'll get you those substitutions once they're officially input into our live stats. Once again, you can follow live stats for each and every Dolphins home game over at csidolphins.com. Villacres gets to that ball. And I can hear them next door communicating those substitutions, so that may take a couple of minutes, but I'm sure we'll spot some of those as play continues. This is Duca giving chase. She has some room here. And Duca looked to send it in front. There were no Dolphins there. Evola was the closest CSI attacker. Serrano for D'Amico. And that caught Jackie in the throat, it looked like.
Now into the game for the Dolphins, number 7, Barbara Serrano, number 8, Nadia Evola, and
Well, as I mentioned before, Evola, Serrano, and Duca in for CSI. The question they're trying to answer next door is who came out. It's a throw in here for the Mavericks. Messina avoids Evola. That one rolls into the box, and Jones-Bush will clear. Once again, a throw in for Mercy. Messina for Camacho. That one sent wide of the frame by Emma Best. It was tipped. And we're going to have a Mavericks corner kick, just their third. Dolphins are still without a shot. They're being outshot 9-0. 6 of the 9 Maverick shots have been on goal. We've spoken a lot about the Dolphins' potential playoff push down the stretch and what they would have to do to get there. Mavericks, if I'm not mistaken, clinch a playoff spot with a win, as that sails over a bunch of bodies and Evelo will clear. If I'm not mistaken, the Mavericks would clinch with a victory if they haven't clinched already. And I think a win does lock it up for Mercy College. Not that there was any doubt coming in, but have to respect the numbers, as that's off the foot of Duca throwing for the Mavericks. But as I mentioned before, the matchup between the Red Hawks and the Mavericks, one that many Mercy College fans will very much be looking forward to. Of course, you can catch that game on the ECC network if you're just a fan of women's soccer. That game will be the Mavericks' season finale. It will be senior day for Mercy College. It will be Breast Cancer Awareness Day in Dobbs Ferry. And it is very possible that they will also be playing for an East Coast Conference regular season title. That looks like it's going to be a very big day for the Mercy College Mavericks. And all that stands between Mercy and entering that game unbeaten in the conference are the Dolphins and Lincoln University. Mercy faces Dolphins here today, and that's going pretty well. They lead by 4 goals. On Wednesday, they travel to Lincoln, Pennsylvania to take on the Lions. And if the Mavericks can win that game, that will set them up with a 7-0 conference record ahead of their matchup with the Red Hawks. We'll see if the Red Hawks can also stay unbeaten heading into that matchup and raise the stakes just a bit more. Not sure it gets any bigger in the regular season than 2 teams competing on the final weekend with unbeaten records for the regular season title. As Camacho avoids Marr. Camacho moving in, looks to score once again, and she does, as she puts it past Brianna Dorr. And the Mavericks now lead by 5 goals. Kayla Camacho has scored for the second time, and her presence has been so noticeable since she's checked into the game for this Mercy College Mavericks attack. The Dolphins have just had no answers for her. And we will get one more look at that goal. Here it is a second time as Camacho went to work against Megan Marr. And once she planted her foot and moved to the inside, she had Marr struggling to recover. No chance for Dorr one-on-one with the Mavericks' leading goal scorer. And the Dolphins now trail by 5. As I mentioned, just the Dolphins and the Lions stand between the Mavericks and a 7-0 conference record heading into that final game with Roberts Wesleyan. The Lions come in just 1-8 on the season, 0-3 against the ECC. The rest of the way, they have St. Thomas Aquinas College. That game kicked off 30 minutes ago. They have Mercy College on the 19th, CSI on the 22nd, and then Damon on the 29th. They do have one other game on their schedule against Bloomfield College on October 27th, but I was just giving you the conference games. Mavericks look to play it toward the center of the pitch. Serrano heads it over to Galan. Bermudez couldn't control it. This is Duca for Melgar. Ball in the air, and once again, Mavericks come away with it. Bermudez up ahead to Valenzuela. Valenzuela had her shot partially blocked, and Dorr has it. Didn't get a look at whether or not Brianna Dorr checked in to start the second half. We did receive a starting lineup that had Dorr penciled in as the starting goalkeeper. Obviously, that was not the case. The Dorr officially checked in about 15 minutes into the second half. Came in at 59:29. If you're keeping time with an ascending clock. Here at Dolphin Soccer Park, our clock descends from 45 minutes in each half. So we have 26 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in this NCAA Division II women's soccer matchup. Dolphins just trying to get something going on the attack. They have just one shot on goal. Of course, that shot came just moments ago, and they made a bid for a second there as that trickles wide. Serrano battling in the penalty area. Good effort by the Dolphins on that attacking play, but nothing comes of it. Goal kick for the Mavericks, who have also made a change in goal. That's number 99, Gina Boggs, in net. We will see her in goal for the Mavericks the rest of the way, barring any unexpected change, as her team leads comfortably. Once again, this is Camacho trying to work her way past three Dolphins, and Mars able to knock it away. Looking to move in was Best. That ball trickles out toward the midfield stripe. Mavericks have it far side. That pass intended for Camacho. Didn't miss her by much. Dorr sends that one skyward out toward midfield. Duca collides with Bermudez, and both players are okay. Castro towards Serrano. Valenzuela headed it back toward the Dolphins' goal in the midfield, but CSI comes away with possession. Galan for D'Amico. D'Amico moving forward, looking for Serrano. Serrano toward the penalty area. Melgar giving chase, but Boggs is there to bring that one in. Best sent that one into the midfield, and it's cleared away. Jessica Hoyt will throw. She finds Alexa Billingham, and it's quickly sent over the near side. We'll have a substitution here for the Dolphins. Ariel Yu checks back in.
Dolphin substitution. Number 20, Ariel Yu enters the game. She replaces number 4, Emily Albano.
Emily Albano checks out. Best. Back to Hoyt. Hoyt has a lot of room. And Marr closes that space quickly, but possession stays with the Mavericks. Bermudez to Best. Best avoids a couple of challenges. Looked to shoot. It was blocked. Another good defensive play by Marr. That's sent toward goal wide of the frame by Kayla Saavedra. And we'll see if Saavedra was credited with a shot on goal there. And she was not, as that shot was wide. That ball headed into the air by the Mavericks. Tony Valadez among the Mavericks who checked into the game for the first time in the second half. Hoyt once again moving up the near side. Has Camacho. Camacho toward the center of the pitch. And she looked to play Saavedra through. Getting a piece of that was a Dolphin in the back. That ball skips across midfield and is sent back in the other direction where Best was waiting. Best working against Jones-Bush, and Camacho is offsides. Looks like she knew at that time as she looked up toward the lines judge immediately after making that run. Free kick for the Dolphins to be taken by Dorr right at the top of the penalty area. 20 minutes and 30 seconds remaining from Dolphins Soccer Park. Dolphins' lone win this year did come on their home turf. They've only played 3 home matches ahead of today's game. They are 0-5-1 on the road. Dolphins have also scored all of their goals here at home. They found the back of the net 3 times this season. Still looking to register their first goal in this game. Last year, the Dolphins found the back of the net 9 times. And right now, they are not on pace to meet that number. As Camacho once again is offsides. You can tell Camacho wants to score again. She has not eased up on any of these runs. Goal scorers for the Mavericks. Camacho with a pair. Bono with 1. Silva with 1. Dixon with 1. Camacho now has 10 on the season. Dixon now has 9. They enter today's match tied for the team lead in scoring. And Dixon will get a chance for more as she checks back in. She's joined by Madison Rosa as Camacho and Bermudez will head to the Mercy College bench. So perhaps we've seen them for the final time in this match. We approach 18 and a half minutes to play in this second half. Best toward the center of the pitch. It's intercepted by the Dolphins. Serrano and D'Amico met over the ball. It got away. And now the Mavericks look to counter as Marr clears into the midfield. Rita Marie Macy into the game for the Mavericks as well. She must have checked in a bit earlier in the second half as that's sent in front and kept out by Sofia Espada. I'm not sure that ball doesn't find its way in if Espada didn't clear it off the line. Another good play by the Dolphins defensively, as Dixon is left unmarked, and she scores. Angsu Dixon wasting no time, scoring for the second time. I mentioned she was going to get a chance for a second goal. It took her less than 2 minutes to find the back of the net and to extend the Mavericks' lead to 6. And we will get a second look at it right here, as Dixon was just left completely unmarked. Dolphins cleared that ball out of the penalty area, but did not get back into position when that ball was sent in toward Dixon. There you see it. She's all alone and easily put that one in. Once again, a really tough save for Brianna Dorr. Not an impossible save, but Dixon had a clear shooting lane, and she took full advantage as the Mavericks continue to pile it on here in the second half. Mavericks scored twice in the first half, but the Dolphins did a nice job after that to slow down this Mercy College attack. And they have done no such thing here in half number 2, as the Mavericks have added 4 more goals in under 30 minutes. I touched on it briefly during the pregame. These two teams did meet last season. The Mavericks won that game 3-0. They got on the board in the 7th minute. Skylar Schwenkler scored the game's opening goal. Mercy never looked back from there. Camacho also scored in that game, as did Nikki Bermudez. Mavericks outshot the Dolphins 21-2. Shots on goal favored Mercy 11-1. Both Dolphin shots came in the second half. Dolphins in today's match have just 2 shots, 1 on goal. All of that coming in this second half. This is Valenzuela. Valenzuela working against Castro. She finds Dixon. Galan takes it away from Dixon. Now Evola up ahead and through the midfield. There's nobody home on that pass. Far side, that's Rosa. She was looking for Galan. This is Dixon. I should say that pass got by Galan, as Rosa certainly wasn't looking for the Dolphins' backer in that spot. Actually, it appears Galan is in a midfield position right now. Nonetheless, the Dolphins looking to counter as Serrano went down, and she draws the whistle as she is holding her right knee. Clock is still running inside of 15 minutes to play in the second half. It's going to be a free kick for the Dolphins. Emily Albano takes a majority of the CSI free kicks. She is not currently in the game. D'Amico directing traffic. Her free kick on its way toward the far post. A good one headed by Serrano in front, and then headed a second time and a third, as the Mavericks are able to clear. But a good free kick there and a quality chance for the Dolphins as Dixon takes it away. Dixon moving forward. It's 2-on-1. Dixon moving in against Yu and Marr. Dixon gets by Yu. 1-on-1 with Dorr, and her shot is just wide. Tough angle there, and a good job by the Dolphins not allowing Dixon to get a better angle on that shot. And Dixon right there made a bid for goal number 3. She's played incredibly well in this game, and that continues even as it appears her team has this one well in hand. And here's a look at that last attacking play by Dixon. Dolphins did not allow her to take it inside.
Maverick substitution, number 8.
And with the angle cut off, that was an incredibly tough chance. Still a good job by Dixon to even get into that position in a 2-on-1 situation. Throwing up coming for the Mavericks along the far side. We have 13 minutes on the clock in the second half. With a defeat in this game, the Dolphins will fall to 1-8-1. 1-4 against the East Coast Conference. The Mavericks would improve to 11-2. And a perfect 6-0 against the ECC. Ball finds its way into the midfield where Serrano has it off the redirect. And the Mavericks quickly shut down any Dolphins' hopes of an attacking play. Ball on the foot of the Dolphins goalkeeper, Brianna Dorr, and she will scoop it up inside of 12 minutes to play. Ball along the far side as we have a whistle. And it's going to be a free kick for Mercy College. Mavericks have it in the midfield once again. Hoyt. Good ball up ahead for Bono. She moves in. Bono sends one in front, and it was met by Castro, who was facing a lot of pressure from behind. That was Trinity Valenzuela, who may have gotten a piece of it, but Dorr was able to get on top of it. Big break up there by Castro. We have another whistle. And a player down in the midfield as the clock is stopped at 10:37. Didn't get a look at who it is that's down. That might be Galan. And as Galan is attended to, we will step aside and take a short break. When we come back, the conclusion of this NCAA Division II women's soccer matchup.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back from the College of Staten Island, just out of an injury timeout as Nadia Evola sends that shot well wide, but Dolphins finally get another shot opportunity. Those have been tough to come by for CSI in this match. We're going to have more substitutions as well.
Now into the game for the Dolphins, number 3, Alera Surratt. Number 10, Danny Duca. And number 11, Christina Lambraya.
Alera Surratt into the game for the Dolphins. Also announced in were Danny Duca and Christina Lambraya. Dolphins making some late changes inside of 10 minutes to play. That ball rolling up the far side, where Solomon plays it back to Brianna Dorr and into the midfield. Dorr sends it as Duca has it. Duca moving forward. Slows things down. That ball sent toward Espada, but the Mavericks get to it first. That one just missed the foot of Rosa. She now gives chase. Surratt not far behind. And here comes Bono just outside of the box. Challenging, and that's sent over the head of Elizabeth Bowles. It rolls toward the far side. And Lambraya tried to let it go, but Bowles able to keep it in. This is Dixon. Back to Bowles. Left-footed shot is wide. Lambraya thought that ball had traveled over the touchline. It did not, and that afforded the Mavericks another chance off the left foot of Elizabeth Bowles. For those who missed it, upcoming schedule here on CSI Sportsnet. First and foremost, we have another game coming up next. Men's soccer on deck as they take on the same Mercy College Mavericks team. Next week, Dolphins are back in action here at home on Wednesday. Of course, we'll have that game for you here on the ECC Network. Dolphins take on Georgian Court University on Wednesday at 2 p.m. 1 week from Wednesday, on October 26th, Damon University visits Dolphins Soccer Park. That is a doubleheader. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the men might play first on the 26th, so tune in over at CSIDolphins.com. Check in every day or two for potential updates to our schedule. But as of right now, I do anticipate that the men will play first on the 26th, followed by the women. That would put the men at 11 and the women at 2. We then wrap up soccer season from the College of Staten Island on Wednesday, November 2nd, when the Dolphins take on Bloomfield College in a non-conference matchup. That game rescheduled from this past Thursday, October 13th. So that's what you can expect on deck here on CSI Sportsnet. Of course, every Dolphins home match will stream on the ECC network. And of course, coming soon, we will have Dolphins basketball for you as men's basketball tips off their season on November 11th with the annual Tournament of Heroes. Of course, the Tournament of Heroes no longer a bracket-style tournament, but will instead feature 4 games played over the course of 2 days on Friday and Saturday. Saturday will be a busy day as the women will tip off in their Women's Basketball Conference Challenge. Second year they've held that event. This year it is sponsored by TLC Physical Therapy and Jimmy Mac's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. For more information on our 2 sponsors, you can visit the women's basketball schedule page over at CSIDolphins.com. There you can check out TLC Physical Therapy and what they have to offer, as well as the full Jimmy Mac's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria menu. That is available on the women's basketball schedule page. Just click the images featuring the logos of our 2 great sponsors, and you can check them out over at their official websites as well. Should also mention we have a new scoreboard sponsor this year. And beginning during basketball season, we will be featuring our new scoreboard sponsor here at the College of Staten Island, McDonald's. So if you happen to see some McDonald's cups and some Big Macs and some French fries on the commentary desk, they came from our newest sponsor, our scoreboard sponsor here at the College of Staten Island, McDonald's. And I can guarantee you that me and my broadcast partners will indeed be loving it all season long, as I know Mike Morrow is going to have some special treats for us throughout the season. And we'll share the latest from our new sponsor, McDonald's, all season long. You might even get the chance to spot Danny the Dolphin in McDonald's coming soon. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, our nearest McDonald's location to the College of Staten Island, located on Richmond Avenue, right down the block. And you can visit them anytime, as that shot is saved by Dorr. A strong attempt there off the foot of Alexa Billingham, and that elicits a round of applause from the Dolphins supporters here at the College of Staten Island. You love to see that late in a lopsided game. These fans still very much behind this Dolphins team. And with every positive development for CSI, they offer their support, as Dorr made a nice save on that last shot. Here's one quick look at it ahead of the Mavericks' corner kick. There you see Billingham sending that one toward the post, and Dorr just got there in time, as the Dolphins clear that one with a header out of the penalty area. Hoyt is on sides. She is taken down hard by Serrano, and I thought we might get a whistle there. Perhaps in a 6-goal game, the official choosing not to call the foul, but we'll get a second look at that collision in the penalty area. And I certainly thought the Mavericks were about to be awarded a penalty kick. And you could see Serrano, based upon her reaction, thought she had committed the foul. It certainly looked that way from up here. And if you're calling this game down the middle, you have to acknowledge that certainly looked like a foul, even more so on replay. Dolphins get away with it. And with 2.5 minutes left, Bono is flagged for the offsides. She is upset with the call. Now, I'm not sure what's going on with our scoreboard, but it appears as if they've turned the period forward to overtime. That is not correct, so we'll have to get that sorted out in the next couple of minutes. But on your screen, what we have on the scoreboard here at Dolphins Soccer Park is reflected, as Duca sends one toward goal, and that's saved by Boggs. Inside of 2 minutes to play from Dolphins Soccer Park, Mavericks have not passed on any opportunity to add to their lead. You know they are going to play until the final horn. Dixon giving chase, and that was sent off of Serrano by Dorr. Corner kick for the Mavericks coming up here. And they will have another chance on this set piece. Corner kick sent toward the middle of the box. Gets through a massive crowd. Bono gives chase. Bono moving down toward the end line. Facing pressure from Caitlin Burns. That is sent into the box. Dixon shoots, and that's wide. 1 minute remaining in the second half. Dorr will take the goal kick, and this could very well bring us to the end of this match, barring one last attempt on the attack from CSI. We'll see. Duca look to turn. Hoyt sends it back into the midfield. Waiting for it there was Bowles. Bowles was looking to play Rosa through, and that should do it.
10, 9, 8,
Dorr will send it back out into the midfield where it bounces up into the air. by the Mavericks to bring this match to a close. Our final score, Mercy College 6 and the College of Staten Island nothing. For the Mavericks, they improved to 11-2 on the season. They are now a perfect 6-0 against the ECC. The Dolphins fall to 1-8-1 on the season, 1-4 in conference play. Coming up next here on the ECC Network, CSI Sportsnet coverage of men's soccer. The Dolphins take on the Mavericks in about 60 minutes. Once again, this has been Joe Foreman on the call, and I do expect to rejoin you approximately 10 minutes ahead of kickoff between the Dolphins and the Mavericks. Men's soccer coming up next. This has been exclusive ECC Network coverage of NCAA Division II women's soccer. Dolphins fall to the Mavericks 6-0. Tune in for men's soccer coming up next.